Welcome to a podcast capturing the antics of two geeks who talk about video game culture and influence, both old and new, all through chaotic banter and tangential tangents that make no sense. My name is Masq, but as it stands right now, it's a me. This is my pal Red.
I got permabanned from Instagram because I guess I wasn't active enough and looked like a bot.
And together we make the ReddMasq Podcast. This is episode 27. This week on the ReddMasq Podcast, we have our first guest appearance, and that would be Matt Jones. Matt is a computer programmer that we met at the Indie Classic event back in May, and he has some really interesting takes on Satellaview and as well as just computer technology in general. So, welcome, Matt, to the show. Fantastic to have you. All right, Red, how's it like to be second fiddle now? We're going to replace you immediately.
I will be missed.
No, you won't.
Dang.
But we're glad to have you here, Matt. I wanted to kind of talk to you about was the thing that you brought to the Indie Classic, which was a really unique Nintendo peripheral. Can you tell us a little bit about the Satellaview?
I can indeed. So I own a Satellaview, which says a lot about my spending habits. Satellaview, it's a peripheral add-on for the Super Famicom, the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo. It released in April of 1995 as a Japan-only release and was discontinued June 30th, 2000. Basically, it was a co-developed product between the Japanese radio company Saint Giga and Nintendo, where they were like, oh, Sony has the PlayStation now, we gotta come up with something better. And their response was like, you can pay a subscription fee to Saint Giga to get over your satellite broadcast signal games, magazines, etc. to your Super Famicom using like a Satellaview add-on mounted to the bottom. And so you could actually save games for a period of time to like a little 8 megabyte cartridge that you'd attach using a what's it called? Like a sister board cartridge kind of.
Right.
So you have your cartridge that's like the BSX cartridge. It's like the BIOS card that lets you like explore an overworld, do stuff, download stuff. And you have like a little memory cartridge that
exactly. I was thinking memory card with this, like a PlayStation 1 memory card or a GameCube memory card.
Yeah. And it would reset itself every time you download something new and different. So a lot of games were like exclusively released for it. I'm thinking there's like a Legend of Zelda port that was released on there. Super Mario USA, or as we know as Super Mario Bros. 2, was exclusively released on the Satellaview. A lot of games also first appeared on the Satellaview, then getting cartridge ports later. The Satellaview also had like radio broadcasts that would line up with the gameplay, so you could like have like live action voice acting kind of with your Legend of Zelda game, or like a talk show happening while you're playing something. It was very, very cool because it was able to stream CD quality audio through the Satellaview to your TV.
Without being a CD add-on per se, it just has really high quality audio like on board, the actual hardware.
Yep. So there's people that have homebrewed being able to stream Spotify to that thing, and that's been awesome to me because that's like, oh, cool, nice. But Nintendo did not think this was as cool as an idea as they thought and pulled out of it pretty quick. So Saint Giga kept it alive with basically radio broadcasts, magazine broadcasts, etc. until they eventually shut their doors and canceled the Satellaview, and they asked for a lot of them back. So the official figures that they reported is that over or just about 100,000 originally sold. And since they recalled most of them back, we have no idea how many there really are. But there's definitely a few. I know of at least like 60 maybe from keeping an eye on eBay and just seeing them on YouTube.
But yeah, there's actually been some news about this console I've kind of glossed over here and there. Digital Eclipse is doing a Tetris collection. This Tetris collection is actually missing a version of Super Bombless that was distributed on Satellaview. This was from part of a fan restoration project. Nintendo apparently doesn't have the copies of it, or they just don't have access to it. Maybe because their partnership with Saint Giga wasn't really, like, fully mutual with that? I'm not really sure, like, how this sort of thing gets lost. Matt, do you have any ideas how this kind of thing could happen?
I do indeed. So, as a avid person of scouring the internet trying to find Satellaview 8 megabyte cartridges to buy that are not over $200, we've discovered that when people obviously downloaded the game, it was on the cartridge, and then when they downloaded another game, it overrode the original game with the new game. The problem is that if you think about how many times people did that, there's probably games that fell through the cracks that never were, kept. And I'm trying to think of the specific example. There's like a Kirby minigame collection. We have all of them except one Kirby minigame collection. Like one of the minigames from that collection is missing. And so people have written programs that you can dump the contents of your 8 megabyte cartridge to, see if it's on there. It can find all the data that's ever been written to the thing and see if it's intact. That's the only way we've been able to find a lot of Satellaview content, a lot of Satellaview media, is by ripping apart these cartridges using dumping methods and seeing if there's anything left that we can use. Right. Unfortunately, the ones that I've purchased never have anything on them except like people's like RPG Maker save data and stuff that they purposely deleted.
Right, and these are all coming from Japan, right? Just from like old Satellaview consoles, and not the consoles, just the memory cards that just have this data on them. Maybe it's overwritten, but it's still partially available.
Yeah, and so some people, like, I'm trying to think, it's F-Zero, is it BS F-Zero 2? Is that what it's called?
Is it BS F-Zero Grand Prix 2?
Yes, I just got it, yeah. That is it. They did, like, a fan recreation using pieces and parts of that thing. It's very cool.
The availability of actually having these memory cards, like, that sounds like it's a really important thing. And unfortunately, with the Satellaview, it sounds like a couple of these could go for, like, hundreds of dollars a piece, even if they're blank.
A blank one currently on eBay is fetching about $70. The ones that actually have data on them, I think $120, $140. Those ones are a lot more rare because they're the ones that people can put into a BSX cartridge and find data on like immediately that they can play. And they're like, oh, when are you going to be able to do that again, kind of thing.
For preservation purposes, like no other version of that data exists out there potentially. So that's why people just are all over that. That kind of stresses the importance to me of like having not just having a platform, but like having the availability of memory cards and things just to actually store your data on. Memory cards were used for like the Xbox era, Dreamcast, PS2, PS1, GameCube, and PS1 in particular. I think a lot of people remember having like a whole memory card collection if you're living around that time. I only had like 2 GameCube memory cards, and maybe I'd swap them for like Animal Crossing with friends because like that's a really nice use of that.
Right, yeah, because the big problem with the Satellaview in particular is that everything was streamed via a radio broadcast. So like once it was done, it's done. Like we have no copies of the streamed audio. We have no copies of like the voice acting and stuff for like the Legend of Zelda ports and the Super Mario USA stuff. None of that. So whenever you play the ROMs, which people are like, oh, the ROMs are available, why are they not technically considered 100%? It's because they're silent. They're waiting for, an audio cue that you're supposed to press some button at some time, or you'll be sitting there staring at like a picture of Toad for like 5 whole minutes because apparently Toad was talking or something, and you're like, what do I do here, kind of thing. It's the, unfortunately, the broadcast nature is what made preservation with this so stupid hard for no reason.
Actually, it's a little like Miiverse, now that I think about it. But like Nintendo had their own social network with the Miiverse. Has anyone used Miiverse here before? No.
I never really used it myself.
I've seen photos. That's about it.
Miiverse was just Nintendo's take on like a social network. If you had a Wii U or 3DS, you had access to this, and you could like post little art pieces that would like appear in your game of Splatoon, for instance. Or, like, there was a stage in Smash for Wii U where you could actually, like, view the posts that were, like, floating around on Miiverse at the time. That was just, like, art of the characters battling it out. It was kind of a cool little gimmick. And Nintendo had to shut the service down a few years back. And they let people take their own data. And that was it. There have been, like, fan efforts to bring back the Miiverse community through something called the Pretendo Network. That is a resource that allows you to connect to, like, a separate server that's, like, kind of imitating the hardware to give a similar type of experience. You can still access the Pretendo network on your Wii U if it's soft-modded, but, like, otherwise, like, the original Miiverse, that is gone and gone. All the content that was on there, all the, like, media that was on there, that's gone in a similar way that, like, the Satellaview stuff is gone from that era, where these recordings, unless people recorded them on VHS, they're just up in smoke now. I can't believe nobody else has used Miiverse but me. Like, I only just poked my head around there a couple times. Maybe it's because I was doing so much stuff in, like, other games. I don't know.
I just never really used it when I had my Wii U.
It was neat, though. It was there.
It gave us Why Can't Metroid Crawl?
It did, yeah. There was one other thing that I found really cool about the Satellaview is that, like, the enhanced, like, sound chip, kind of like with the Famicom. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Matt?
Yeah, so from what I've been told, as I've been hard and pressed to find a schematic of a Satellaview properly, and I am not one to tear apart mine because that scares the living hell out of me
Right.
to open up something like that, because I'm like, how much did I spend on this? Right. And so from what I've been told and from what I've seen, it has sound enhancement through the broadcast quality. So obviously it's coming through, so satellite signal was coming into it. It was able to handle CD quality audio that would feed back up to the TV from that signal. Somebody told me something about video, like the video games themselves, even without the broadcast signal hooked up, sound better. I think that was a placebo, because 100% I've proven that not true now.
Okay.
Because that's what someone told me about that, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I hear it, and then it occurred to me that it sounds the exact same without the Satellaview attached to it. So I'm like, that sucks. But I do know that you can feed audio into it from the satellite signal,
Right.
or a emulated satellite signal, and it sounds CD quality. So
Okay.
Ooh.
I do know it has some sort of sound enhancement to it that's able to feed through the Super Famicom back to the TV. But as I haven't taken apart one, and there's not very many schematics out there, I don't know what it's called. I don't really know the full steps of it. I just know that it can do it.
Totally fine. Yeah, that actually busts a myth in my head. I thought that this was a similar situation to the Famicom disk system, where you added 2 FM audio channels from the actual, like, onboard chips of the disk system to enhance game audio. It's not like that at all. It just uses, like, over-the-air stuff. Okay. Yeah, that clarifies it quite well to me.
Yeah, because I was told that. I saw that on some forum or something, and I was like, this seems so legit. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I bought Arkanoid Do It Again for it, was because it was originally a Satellaview title, and I'm like, oh, it's got to have this audio like bump, and that's why I was at the show, is because I'm like, oh, it's got to be like this big thing. Nope.
Right.
Listen, I really appreciate you bringing. I appreciate you bringing Arkanoid, because I played a lot of it.
Dude, I was still in like awe that you beat it in the time that it took us to have a full conversation. I was like,
Well,
you're like, oh, I just beat the boss. I'm like, what?
I beat a boss. There's 3 bosses, and then it
Oh.
loops.
Oh,
It's very silly.
I've been like staying up at night thinking about this, because I'm like, how does someone beat Arkanoid in like 25 minutes?
You don't, because you have to get to round 33 to face Doe.
That guy.
He's a freaking
You're a
Moai
monster,
head
Red.
boss
I
from
don't know
a
what to
not.
say. You're amazing.
Yeah, I want to be
It's-
you when I grow up.
Yeah, let's all be Red when we grow up here.
I have. God.
Oh god, don't die.
You set off my coughs.
The cough alarm.
You see, like, cough alarm.
Yes.
I was so speechless, and I just started hacking a lung up.
Oh my gosh. In my little kind of stint looking around for other information with this console, I mean, I never got the privilege to work with them myself. Like, when I was doing speedrunning, I got to work with a lot of really nice people, like Mug and others, but I feel like I have a phantom memory of almost working with luigiblood, but they are, like, one of the people really involved and really forward about preservation with the Satellaview at, like, a software level. Have you ever
yeah.
worked with them before, Matt?
I have indeed. luigiblood has answered so many questions of mine, because constantly I'm a person that likes to network when it comes down to my own stupidity of like, I bought something, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Here we go, kind of thing.
You're now in an exclusive club. That's how it works.
Yeah. So, doing some research on people that knew Satellaview stuff, I stumbled on luigiblood's NeoCities webpage, and dug around in there and found all sorts of good stuff. And so I reached out to them over Twitter. I was thinking way outside the box. So I'm like, what if we're able to take compact flash cards and replace the 8 megabyte cartridges with compact flash so we can write ROMs too and put them in the Satellaview and be able to play them on the real console again. And he's like, I mean, I guess. I was like, okay, cool, you know? And so it was kind of just like conversations about like power stuff, because obviously it's a Japanese console. It takes 100,
yes.
I think it's 100 volts. I was running some pretty crazy power inversion stuff in the back at Indie Classic and everything. And then we've discussed dumping the 8 megabyte cartridges. I spent some big boy money on an actual cartridge dumper. It's self-powered. It's powered by an Arduino. It's very nice, but I was able to actually dump the contents of my 8 megabyte pack and found that it has, all of them are basically Ryoma de Yuku extras and user-made RPGs from the RPG collection. And I'm like, that sucks. I thought I like stumbled on gold, because I googled the like Japanese titles and they didn't show up as anything on Google, and I'm like, oh, I think I might have found something, but no. But they have really good documentation on how to properly preserve Satellaview cartridge contents, and that's how I found out about the cartridge dumper, and just a lot of information about it. They developed Satellaview as well. Satellaview is it's a tool that allows you to make content you can push into a BSX ROM. So, like, for example, if I want to have a character give me a copy of some Satellaview BSX ROM inside of the robot tower building inside the BSX BIOS, I can create that in Satellaview, add the data files to like an emulator like BSNES Plus, which I think luigiblood wrote the Satellaview compatibility with that, and then I can load in and I can actually play it like it's supposed to be. Obviously, you can't do that in the real console, which sucks, but you can do it in an emulated form where you can actually like have your characters like come back and give you stuff, and it's all entirely your own programming. Like, I can have them say whatever I want, give me whatever I want, whatever building I want, but it's still a huge step in showing like what it was at one point.
That is an amazing tool. It sounds like very involved. From what I looked up, is it an FPGA based like emulation where this is supported? Like, you can actually like emulate the console like at the hardware level to do this?
I think so, yeah, because I think it tracks the real-time clock of your computer as well, I think.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, like, having the ability to actually, like, kind of retool the broadcast into your own means, like, understanding how that works in the back end of that, that's really awesome. And also, a lot of the compact flash card and SD card replacement stuff is something they talk about, again, in my upcoming segment, at high-end preservation. Like, that is something that they want. Things like Game Boy interface where they're just intercepting like video signals and stuff, that's okay, but it's not something they really seek out in that sort of like area of expertise. But compact flash and SD card game preservation, still really cool and really important for sure. So I'm going to talk about this more in my segment. I saw a lot of obscure consoles at the museum in play, including like a Nintendo iQ just on display. But we didn't have a Satellaview in the collection from what I could gather here. At least not in the public collection. I have a lot of photos to kind of like pour through, and I'll share those with the show in the notes down below. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I interrupted because the BIOS game itself is actually quite interesting in and of itself, because Redd and I were talking about the town whose name got stolen. Not to be confused with the town with no name, aka one of our in-jokes about a old YouTube channel called Red Supre.
I thought
you were talking about the Commodore CD TV game for a second, and I was like, oh boy, don't get me down that rabbit hole.
Oh god, there's a Commodore game with that? I was still talking about the 3DO game.
Oh, is there a 3DO version? You're talking about like the Western game where it's like really like dog shit?
Yeah, and it's just a bunch of jokes. So they made multiple versions?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, there's a version on the
CDS
CDTV.
and an MS-DOS version. Wow, I didn't know about the MS-DOS version. Also, I got the console wrong for how long now?
I will proudly say that I have actually contacted every single person that's worked on that and talked to them about it. I was obsessed with that back when I was in college. Yeah, so on Facebook Messenger, I have talked to Charlie Watts, Barry Milgate, Fergus McNeil, And
oh my lord, what a legend.
Athelstan Podcast, like the people that are in the credits of that, and they're like, yeah, we have nothing better to tell you except we were just being stupid. I'm like, cool, thanks.
It comes through in the game. I'll give you that much. Did you speak to the jester?
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't find the jester.
Oh
Damn
my
it.
gosh.
Charlie Watts is like the most. I can even find the exact message because I asked about everything. He said that they worked on another game, but they said the making was really just a passion project that was thought of because they really wanted to make something that reminded them of the Clint Eastwood films, and so they made that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Truly
totally
cinema
tangential, but...
when it comes to like gaming, like just B movie. I don't know what you want to call it. It's just like silly nonsense. Truly.
All I can ever think of whenever I think of that is just the got the time, old man, and it's just like that whole like 30-second cutscene just staring at the watch. Just no.
Yeah. They did a run of this at one of the GDQs like during my little era.
I remember that one because Slow Beef actually donated during it.
Yes. 2015. And it was done by brossentia. Oh my god.
the Kusoge master himself. My god.
Yes, very good. Yep, there's Abraham Lincoln. God, this game is just such a meme. I love seeing that and like CDI Zelda just hanging out in the like casual room during GDQ. That was like a memory that still sticks into my head to this day. But like, oh my god, we just walk among the legends of gamers here every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got way off track.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I was at the town.
Don't be sorry. This is the point of the show. Tangential tangents. It makes no sense. You've walked right into our trap.
Congratulations, you're one of us.
Is this my initiation?
Not the town with no name, but the town who's had its name stolen. That's the BSX game. Where do we go from here? No, really. Let's talk about it. It's a little Earthbound type game, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because it's a BIOS program.
Yeah, so what's cool about the town whose name was stolen, the story of the town whose name was stolen, is that it kind of acted as like a home world almost for everything. So you had like different houses and buildings and everything else, and each one had its own separate purpose. Had NPCs, whole thing. So you could go talk to like Satellaview, which is one of the two mascots of the Satellaview. That's the satellite that's with like the flappy wings that shows up at the title screen. There's also Parabo, which is a like a satellite dish. Mm-hmm. That's the two mascots. Who knows about them besides the Satellaview wackos? But you can go in like your own house and talk to Satellaview about like managing memory card data, playing games and stuff. And then there's like a girls' school, video game museum, stuff like that. And obviously with Satellaview, we can bring back some of the features of that, but obviously we don't have like the full features of that because you're programming it yourself kind of thing.
Right.
And what's cool about it is that at one point there was actually games that featured the town with no name inside of the broadcast games, which were the Satellawalker and Satellawalker 2 series, which actually take place, like, it's like a murder mystery kind of thing that took place in the BIOS of BSX as a game.
Wow. By the way, we're going to put in the town who had its name stolen here, because you did the town with no name thing again.
God damn.
We got him!
Let's go!
Yeah! There's Abraham Lincoln.
You gotta be thinking about it.
I wasn't expecting you to have interviewed the entire dev team. It's truly amazing.
2021 was a wild time for me.
I think it was a wild time for all of us. I was a VR developer. Anyway, the less you know about that, the better.
Okay. Yeah. Stellarwalker 2. Yeah. They were broadcast games that you could play inside the BIOS. Very cool.
Yeah, that's like some of the buildings around just like have news that updates. You have programs you can download from the internet. I mean, not from the internet, of course. From broadcast satellite using the just the in-game menus themselves. Was there anything that like happened specifically like at certain times a year at this? Was it like clock-based?
It actually was based. There were certain features that were based around what season, like stuff like that. Trying to think with the Stellawave, it actually has like the official names, what they are, but I know there's like a center fountain in the middle of like the little town per se that changed by the month.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you could get different music changes based on different things. There's definitely, if you have a Satellawalker on there, it plays different music. There's some other ones that we don't know how exactly to trigger, but they are in the ROM. But so music would change based on some variable.
Right, okay. So it's sometimes changed based on not just time of year, just like generally what was available through broadcast. Depends on the day, depends on the week, depends on whatever else that might be happening. Maybe there's an event of like a Zelda game that's going on. They want to have people excited for that, so they play a little tune to promote that.
Could be. Yeah, it was always just from what I've found digging through the ROM myself. It's like different actual original titles that they wrote for that overworld, which is pretty cool. There's also some different ones that like when you download a game, it would actually show like what's my personal favorite? While it's downloading the game, it would show like two airplanes, like kind of like dog fighting, and there's one of like a dog surfboarding and stuff like that, where it'd be like playing some crazy tune while doing that because it was just something to do while I was downloading the content.
Right.
But in my own notes of like what the purposes of a lot of these buildings are, it literally just says purpose unknown next to most of everything. Like, oh, the convenience store was used to buy items. The department store was used to buy items. The police station, we don't know. All this stuff. It's like lists of what we don't know, things like what their purpose were.
So there's still a big knowledge gap in all of this. Despite everything we've been able to piece together, a lot of it is still a mystery lost to time without Nintendo's help to kind of like recollect all of it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow. Yeah. Just another element of gaming history without anything to kind of resolve that, unfortunately. Hopefully with time, and we'll have more content available to kind of put these together, maybe with the Tetris thing that's going on right now. Maybe more people will be aware of Satellaview.
Right. Yeah, because whenever they release Kirby Ball, that's all that matters to me.
Kirby Ball.
That's like the one, it's Ball Rally, my bad. Kirby Ball Rally is like the one Satellaview game thing that's missing that I know of off the top of my head that is like the big one.
Does it have tilt controls?
Does it have tilt controls? I don't know because we don't have it dumped.
I would love to know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. We need to find it out there, it sounds like.
Will you be able to tilt a GameCube to play it?
Look.
Tilt it.
Look, yeah, have you not... Matt, do you not know me? I think I need to introduce you to my SGDQ run from 2016. Or 17. I think it was 17.
Okay, I didn't do this much research before appearing on here.
Oh, well, I tried to make it a little more public when I was going back to my old Twitter account for the guest. I ran Kirby Tilt and Tumble on a GameCube and a dance pad at SGDQ, I believe 2017.
Oh my.
That dance pad is now resting in peace because your cat did something unmentionable to it.
Yeah, got to the dance pad, unfortunately, so that is gone. The GameCube is still intact. If I ever follow it up, I will do so on a console called the Wide Boy 64, which is an obscure N64 GBA emulator. Well, no, it's not an emulator, it's actual hardware.
I know what you're talking about. You have one of those?
No.
Oh. I was about to say, I was like, wait, what?
No. I unfortunately do not have one, but I may be able to get one. Potentially.
I was saying,
possibly.
I was about to absolutely just drop dead on the floor. I was like,
yeah, it's rare. It is such a hard console to find because it's like just kind of for press and like developer kit stuff.
Mm-hmm. I was to say, I'm trying to find a 64DD that's like in a price range that I'm not having to like remortgage my car.
Right.
And then here I was like, you have a Wide Boy?
Gosh, no. My collection is vast, but not quite that vast. Just imagine it's Kirby's what is it again? Kirby's Ball.
Kirby Ball Rally?
Kirby Ball Rally, yeah. Imagine some of the gameplay made it over there. If Kirby says a word that's not Poyo or Yata, by the way, please contact me immediately. I need to know this.
I've definitely had some, like, fever dreams of him saying other words, so I'm gonna have to try to remember what's reality and what isn't for a second.
The only truth is Poyo.
That is true.
Yes.
Boyo.
Okay, so that was a lot of content. Anything else you want to say about this Satellaview or anything else in general, Matt?
What else is there to say about the Satellaview? Honestly, it is a huge rabbit hole to go down in terms of research. Like, I went from researching it to owning one and now trying to develop for it, which is a pain in my butt. Because I'm actually sitting down and trying to figure out schematics of how to make a flashable replacement memory pack, which with very little knowledge of how everything works without schematics and Nintendo actually providing me, like, this is how things work. With the cartridge dumper that I mentioned earlier, I can actually flash ROMs to my 8 megabyte cartridge. And so now I have a functional game on my Satellaview, which is one step closer to being like, oh, this is how it works kind of thing. Because being able to do that, it feels wrong in every way, but it's still sick.
You're able to actually get content that you make on the Satellaview like cartridge and then view it in the BSX tool itself.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, on the
awesome.
on the real hardware. I flashed, which one did I flash? Pocky and Rocky?
Ooh.
If you know that, by Taito.
Ooh.
Natsume.
Yeah,
They made a remake for that too.
They did?
Yeah, with new characters.
Oh, alright. Didn't know that. It was just the one I picked out of a hat for going on the Satellaview. I'm like, all right, you on the Satellaview now.
It's a very good game.
Yes.
I'm a Taito fanboy. If you ask me anything about Bobble,
Oh my gosh.
brain holds Bobble information.
Okay. God, I only had 5 seconds to think of that. I did not come prepared enough for that one.
Do you prefer Bust a Move or Puzzle Bobble?
Oh God.
Decisive.
Whoa.
Wow.
Do you want to
Spitfire.
about to retcon everything I said and leave? No.
Oh my gosh. No.
I never knew it was called Bust a Move until like really recently when I found it at a retro game store on the Dreamcast, and I'm like, what the hell is Bust a Move, and what's my boy like Bub and Bob doing on the front of this thing? And then I had to research it because I've only played the arcade versions, so I've played Puzzle Bobble 1, 2X, 3, and 4. But I didn't realize that there's a lot of like very strong regional naming differences. Like Bubble
Definitely.
Symphony is Puzzle Bobble or Bubble Bobble 2 and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what? you know?
Yep.
So the name, I'm just gonna ignore it. It's the same game. I don't care. I don't care as long as it's not Bubble Bobble for Friends. I'm good.
I personally am the party of Puzzle Bobble, just for like the originality of it all.
Yeah, why is it called Bust a Move?
I don't know.
They're not busting moves. They're like busting bubbles. Like, come on.
Why is Kirby so mad on American box arts?
Why is it called Bust a Move? Anyway, no, so Satellaview stuff, absolutely a fun rabbit hole to go down as long as you're not spending too much money or anything on it. Absolutely something to research. You can find all sorts of crazy things in every nook and cranny of blogs. I mean, I know luigiblood's written about it a bit. I've not published my research, but I have done some research on it. Have some stuff written about it. But there's just YouTube video after YouTube video after VHS recordings of it shutting down, like the whole 9 yards. It's really fun to dig around and potentially find something. So whoever wants to start researching Satellaview stuff and laps me in knowledge, that I welcome it entirely.
This episode is brought to you by us. We work hard in making an exciting show each week, chaos included. Check out the links in the show notes for ways to help support the show. This includes our coffee page, which you can find at ko-fi.com/mask31. Okay, so what I am going to talk about here is kind of big. Again, we're covering some big topics on the ReddMasq Podcast this week. And it is going to be for a convention put on by someone I worked with about 10 years ago by the name of Andrew Borman. I'll start there before I tell you what it is. He and I met because he was kind of looking at forums related to Strider 2014, which is a game I used to speedrun when I was known as the guest. Me, Sai, Nappa, a few other people, Lee, we were pretty good on that game. But we were contacted because he reached out to two places, Strider Citadel and our speedrunning community, for information with the Comic-Con build for Strider 2014. He was doing a lot of games and dumps with P2P Online, and he just wanted to make sure all of the gameplay itself was documented. There's actually an in-game toggle that lets you put it back into kind of the Comic-Con demo mode, I believe. So you can actually access that, but it's like incomplete because, well, the game is like actually the full game now, so they don't need to run it in the demo mode anymore. There's also like in-game camera tools that I never really dug into, but needless to say, Andrew contacted us for that. 10 years later, he ended up being one of the directors for the Museum of Play's digital preservation program. For those unfamiliar, the Strong National Museum of Play is a toy, video game, comic collectible museum, all centered around kids' play and just like the whole idea of play. It's been a historic monument in Rochester for many years. I myself grew up in Rochester, New York, so I'm well aware of the museum and what it had. It originally had a little Pac-Man Atari 2600 like booth, and I remember playing the heck out of that when I was 6. So the museum was a kind of a totem and a testament to me growing up with gaming, and I'm glad it's still around, and it's doing better than ever when it comes to video games right now. Recently, they had a partnership with the Replay Japan event. Yes, the Replaying Japan event is part of the University of Buffalo and I'm going to mispronounce this. Ritsumeikan Center for Game Studies colleges. It was a partnership between those two colleges to host this conference. It began in 2012 and features staff and individuals who were involved with the development of various Nintendo consoles, such as Mr. Matsuyuki Umemura, who was the chief developer of the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the Famicom. He had been teaching at Ritsumeikan University since 2004, and the event also had guests such as the creative minds behind Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Xevious, the Nier Automata series. Yoko Taro was there. And this event, Save the Games, was Andrew Borman's idea as a digital preservation kind of event to the public. So it partnered with the actual presentation with Replaying Japan, so we all got to see like a lot of really interesting things that the museum had to offer for both locals and for Japanese game developers who were attending the event. It was a really unique experience that I am glad to have kind of fall into my lap, because this is a weird story. That's going to take a left and right turn here, but I posted as like an old forum name that I had, and I was like, all of these other old forum names that I've kind of put on the back burner since I went to college, I wonder what became of them. I booted up some accounts, I learned about this event, and the next thing I knew, I was attending and thanking people from some of the work I did 10 years ago, which is crazy, honestly. So I got to see Andrew there, which is really nice. And yeah, the whole museum was kind of set up in a way to kind of present to the public and to people attending both Replaying Japan and the Save the Games preservation event the best of what I had to offer. So we got the backroom tour. That tour consisted of viewing a lot of the collections, so we got to see a lot of older arcade machines. I'm going to post a link to some of the machines themselves in the show notes, but everyone at the museum was on board, so we had like digital curators, we had like the actual staff of the museum helping us out, guiding us through some of the things they're doing. Again, they don't just do games. There was like a whole Family Feud section down there where they're doing like a game show sort of exhibit in a couple of months. So we got to see some behind the scenes stuff with that. We got to hear some press conferences and events related to stuff that the museum is kind of like working on project-wise for preservation and for display. We also got to learn about a lot of the interesting ways they kind of like go about preserving digital games. So they have access to tools that are very much like the stuff that like anyone can access with cartridge jumping and stuff. But they also have access to like 3D scanners to preserve like the physical look of certain marquee items in games. They have a lot of just backlogs of just like collections. So they have vintage consoles, they have exclusive consoles. I believe Xbox had a exclusive console that was a Digital Worlds at the Strong label and branding that Microsoft just made in Xbox Series X just for that exhibit, which is kind of cool. They had all sorts of history of games like Tetris. They had all sorts of like arcade machines. They had a Sega arcade machine that was a boxing machine that was, they believe, one of Sega Amusement's first games made back in the 50s. And they got to show that off the backroom tour. One of the most unique things I saw down there was a chair that looked like it was off the set of Pee-wee's Brother Playhouse. I cannot confirm or deny if that was the case, but it definitely looked like it, but they could not confirm or deny if that was the real one. So, yeah, like the museum itself, it's always up to the public, so they always have things to display. They have a little arcade setup that's really nice. They have like the dual decker punch out machines there. They have machines for like Quick and Crash. They have the statues. Oh, the statues. When you walk into the museum's like area right next to the Hall of Fame area, they have like game character statues, artworks, just stuff that's just on display for the public to kind of see. It's really nice. It's really entertaining. We talked a little bit about the Family Feud board, but that was kind of reprogrammed to work with a lot of the museum's activities themselves. Like the original hardware apparently worked only on like Apple II computers, from what I was told from the assistant. So he's one of the assistants to the museum's preservation team, but he's a pretty good computer whiz. He programmed it to work on like modern hardware. It's not like a common flip board, and it's the Fast Money board is what this is. The first day of the symposium was basically kind of the collaboration. The second day was panels that were exclusive to just digital preservation. We had various presenters that were keen on sharing their works, some for their master's degrees, some for just academia, some for human rights and social justice. They had a good spread of just people talking about various gaming-adjacent activities and events that were relevant to the museum's curation and preservation efforts. I would say it was exciting to get the backroom tours, honestly, to actually see the place. And I'm really glad that I had friends in strange places and had gone back to a lot of the legacies that I had worked on with gaming in the past to make that happen. They had a room with like consoles stacked very neat and orderly for like different types of Xboxes. I would imagine there's like version 1.0 through 1.6 of the original Xbox there. There were consoles that were just like marked for the SNES, the SNES revision, the Famicom. I don't know if they had a Famicom AV, but like some of the stuff that was on display was really nice as well. But yeah, it was a lot to just kind of take in, and definitely just doing that all in one day was just such a rush. Really, I didn't know how to kind of react to it all. They had like a presentation at the very end where like we would kind of take a look at the ESL Digital Worlds event, which is just kind of like museum games. They had connects and things like that where kids would be able to interact and stuff, and it's just a celebration of play itself. It was cool. I broke one of the games. There was basically this game where you're working with a mouse, and like you just have to press 3 different colored buttons to make the mouse go across the finish line quickly. But like if you press one of the buttons, it would actually work randomly, so it would move backwards or forwards. It wouldn't actually move forwards. If the button was lit up, it would move forwards. But by pressing all of those buttons in a rhythmic motion all at once, very quickly, you could just get across the finish line in a second instead of like 10 seconds, as the game normally would take. So that's with checking use cases, and with a speedrunning mindset, that's where that'll get you. Just like finding things you don't expect in places you don't expect, which is really cool. And I got to show a lot of people that.
One of the
I put the links to the Google Drive in there, by the way. Go ahead, Red.
They had a bunch of arcade machines in their back rooms, right?
Yes.
So one of the arcade machines I recognized was Panic Park.
Yeah, I had to ask Andrew about that one. Yeah.
It was a Namco System, what is it, 23 game?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is, Namco System 23. The really annoying to emulate one specifically. But it's like a mini game collection, right? And I remember playing it way back when I was a kid, because what was happening was that we were in Texas for some reason, something probably regarding my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
She lived down there, and wherever we were staying whatever hotel we were staying at was nearby a carnival that was in town, and their arcade had a deluxe version of the cabinet that me and my dad played each other on, and it was really fun.
Especially when you're just knocking people around with that game, like. That's what I had it described to me as. Like, they couldn't actually, like, display it in the museum because it was just so physically involved and violent that you can't actually, like, play this game without, like, possibly breaking it or hurting someone in the process.
Yeah, that it's a very physical game because
Yes.
you're literally physically bumping these like things together against each other, trying to screw each other up.
Yep.
Like years ago, I found a video on YouTube that was like competitive play between two people who love to play it, and they were literally just like ramming their bodies against each other back and forth, and it's just like, oh my god.
And again, the games are just WarioWare style, so it's just like mini game, move on to the next one sort of thing.
Yeah. The 2-player mode is just like you do 5 mini games and whoever wins the most wins effectively. My dad and I ended on a tie though because we were equally skilled.
Darn. I miss arcades like that. Again, hopefully museums like this will keep the idea of doing so, like interacting with these old games well into the future here. But not Panic Park, because that one's too violent. I imagine they just put up a video of it instead. They also had some development consoles there. So they had like the Sony NetYarazi PlayStation. They had a couple of Xbox like dev kits. They also had a 486 3DO dev kit, which was funny. Again, I'm still kind of thrown that the 3DO was actually not the console that the Town with No Name was put on. I can't believe it was a CD Amiga thing. I forgot.
Oh my god, we're still going back to this?
I'm going back to this. I'm still pissed off. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't.
It became relevant again because we talked about he was talking about a dev kit.
Yeah, 3DO.
Yeah.
But it was not a 3DO console, so yeah.
I didn't even know it was on the 3DO, so that's news to me.
It wasn't. I was wrong. Masq is wrong
I'm
on the
pulling
podcast
this
again.
Give me a second.
That's the whole point of that.
It's on the Commodore CD-TV. I know that.
And the
I
MS
know
And
DOS.
the MS-DOS.
Yep.
It's on those two only, apparently.
That's the only way I've been able to play it is DOSBox on a RetroPie setup.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did in 2021 because I didn't have a DOS PC at that time. So I was like, I really got to play this game. I really got to play it.
Yes.
I don't know if you've played it like all the way through. There's like special features, like bonus features hidden in there. They're wild.
Oh yeah, we watched one of the long plays that the
running joke of Red Super, yeah.
Yeah, the Red Super guys watched
play,
they watched the long play and riffed on it. And that little like bonus feature thing at the very end where the guy takes his face off and you go inside.
Yeah.
It's very silly. Very silly.
What are you talking about? That's like the coolest thing ever.
You're both nerds. I want you
It
to
can
know
be
that.
both. I can't wait for this cough to... Go ahead.
Sorry. No, you got it. You're the star of the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll say, I can't wait for this cough to go away. All right, it's your turn.
Oh, I was just gonna say, since I'm at Vintage Computer Festival Midwest, kind of with like for some reason, Mist reminded me of this. I've actually now seen Touhou running on real hardware on a PC 8801 now.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
I was like, there's a line to play that thing. I was so hyped. I really wanted to, but that line was too long. I'm hoping tomorrow it's so much better, and I can just go in there and just sit there.
Oh my god!
Do you know which Touhou?
I envy you.
Oh, it was 6.
Oh, 6. Oh,
Yeah.
6 is like the first one where they made it the jump to regular modern PCs, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yep. Embodiment of
no.
Scar.
It was 4. It was 4 because it has what is Bad Apple in it.
Oh, it has
Oh,
Bad
yeah.
Apple in it? Is that where it
Yeah.
originated? Is that where it came
Yes,
from?
Bad Apple is from Touhou 4 from one of the
Oh my
PC
God.
Engine games.
That is so
I
cool.
learned that when I was listening to the entire OST, and I was like, "Oh, there's Bad Apple." Impressive that it came from this far back.
Gosh. I just know Bad Apple from like, okay, the Pump It Up Prime is a dance game, and like it just uses a lot of K-pop stuff, but it also has Bad Apple in it, and that's where I first heard about it like 5 years ago. But ever since then, ever since like going back to college to be a computer scientist, I just see people put it in their projects just like out of left field, kind of like it's Doom. And I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's cool, I guess. Okay, anime. This is
It
weird.
is
Where does this
so
come from?
shocking here at the computer festival here. I walked by, there's a guy with like some really old Atari computers with the 16-bit era,
Mhm.
and he has like an Atari Falcon, which I've never even heard of. It's super rare. And he has the one next to it, which I'm forgetting which one it is. It's an Atari ST something or other. He has it playing Bad Apple. And I'm like, huh, Bad Apple demo. and then I walked like 2 booths over, and someone else had like a Mac playing Bad Apple demo,
Yes.
and I'm like, okay, another Bad Apple demo. 2 more rows over, another Bad Apple demo, and then
my gosh.
maybe another row I can hear it, and I'm like, okay, what year is it? Is it 2012? Am I gonna start hearing like, am I gonna hear like snooping as usual, like 10 seconds? Is there gonna be like some YouTube music playing?
God, one of
It's
the
inescapable.
Oh my god, yeah, because then I like turned a corner and there's like all the NEC PC 8 and like the 9801 and all that stuff, and Tohu's up, and I'm just like, whoa, okay.
This is probably, it probably factored into it that was there, because like other people could probably get these projects and run these on other machines as a result of Tohu 4 being there. And then it's just what the heck is going on? Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. So
That
I think the next time I exhibit anything, everything's running Bad Apple. I don't even care. I'll write it myself if I have to. Everything.
have five different things all playing Bad Apple and they're desynced.
Oh my gosh.
But exactly in like 1 second increments from each other and not sequentially. It's like, like a really bad bubble sort.
It's the most prime annoying factor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I bet you're seeing a lot of really cool stuff other than that at the Computer Fest out there. I'd love to go to more events.
Oh yeah. Isn't there one up that way?
Yeah,
It's
Syracuse.
Rochester.
It's the Retro Game Con in October, I think.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I'm like, isn't there one up by Rochester?
Yeah, there's a couple, but yeah, the Retro Game Con, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention during the Museum of Play exhibit, Jason Scott was there from Internet Archive, which is really cool because I get to see him at B-Sides every other year too, which is another event that we do. It's information security, so it's less gamey and more just cut and dry, but he's always a pleasure to see. Game preservation is a valid part of just internet preservation overall. Very astute man. I didn't want to bother him too much.
There's YouTubers here that's been kind of very overwhelming because you're walking by, and if you guys know who the 8-bit guy is,
yep, I know that guy.
His ass is just sitting there, and I'm
just hanging out.
Oh my, holy, what the hell? Last year LGR was here. That was kind of but
yeah, the star power will stun you sometimes. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, because I met David Murray last year. I bought a copy of the Petsky Robots, the game he programmed for the DOS compatibles, and he signed it for me. I didn't even ask him to. He just signed it and handed it to me, and I was just like, oh cool. And I was talking to him about development, and I was like, oh wait, I can actually talk to this guy. But with LGR, I'm like, I sound like it's like Squidward trying to talk about the bubble bowl. I'm like the bubble. I think Action Retro's here this year. I know Ben Heck is here. Adrian Black's here. I know he's here.
Ooh.
So, people I need to go talk to tomorrow when it's not as busy, but there's...
I wish you luck with that, and
yeah.
I would ask for autographs, but I don't really need them.
I'm gonna say
collecting
what
pieces
would
of paper would not. No, actually, I would just get them to sign my Tandy Coco too. What am I talking about? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I meant to bring my Vic 20 for people to sign, but then of course it's not here.
Yeah.
Oof. I just wanted to say,
yeah.
Bubble Bowl. I think you mean a Bust a Move Bowl.
Great having you guys. No.
He's quitting now, Red. You scared him off again. How dare you?
Very good at this.
Professional podcasting. No.
I googled Bust a Move, and it just shows that really terrible 3D render of Bub and Bob, and they don't even look like they look horrible. God, they look terrible.
God, whenever I think of Bust a Move, I just think of the crazy PlayStation arts that they had for the titles of those games. It's not even featuring the dragons. It's just weird shit. Have you ever looked those?
I was gonna send in the chat exactly which one I've been staring at for most of this conversation.
Fantastic.
That one. Since as a Sega Dreamcast advocate,
oh my god,
this is the one. That is prime.
This is the one that I saw. Whoa, actually, that one looks fine.
No, I'm talking about the Nightmare. Fine. That one's okay. I mean, it's cartoony. I'm talking about the Nightmare Fuel.
Jesus, what the hell is that?
Yeah, that one is horrifying. and then in the PlayStation 2 era, it didn't get any better.
I don't like this.
Random
so
baby.
Illegal, so addictive. It must be illegal. I don't like that.
It's a terrible.
Why is he getting Clockwork Oranged?
I don't know. Nothing about this makes me, like, want to play this game.
This makes me want to get a restraining order.
They didn't know what they were doing.
Any
my
copy of
God.
this game that approaches me must immediately burst into flames.
It's like, it fucked me up so bad, I coughed out my lung.
Don't
I
die.
almost say you busted a lung.
Oh my god!
Hell yeah.
I just did like some air like but on kind of thing over here, and I felt really happy about it.
Good job.
Oh, hey, no,
All I gotta
hold
say
on. No,
Oh my god.
Why did you... Ah!
you forgot.
I know,
this-
you want me to do the soundboard thing. I gotta do the soundboard thing after this. Oh my gosh.
Discord soundboard.
Oh my god, you.
Super Bust a Move is staring at me, and I don't like it. I need to talk to a trusted adult after looking at this. This is terrible.
My gosh, yeah.
It's wild because that's a picture of a baby. Like, I need
Why is
an
it
adult
looking
to
at me?
save me from this baby.
Hey man, let me live my life.
But yeah, like, thank you so much again for being on the show today, Matt. It was really good to have you here. People could reach out to you via your website, correct? Do you have a Twitter account or any other way people can reach you?
I do. Website is mcjonestech.com, mcjonestech.com. It's also my Twitter handle, and it's also my TikTok handle, which I never use except to make fun of old computers.
Always fun. We need to get a
Always
TikTok,
fun.
Red.
We need to make a TikTok, do
Yeah,
we?
we need to make a TikTok. Thank you for listening to this episode. We are hosted on mask31.dev/the-ReddMasq-podcast. You can also find us on Pocket Casts and wherever great podcasts are found.